So this is going to be a very interesting session. We'll not going to be boring you out a lot. First of all, thanks to Dr. Nayak for giving us the freedom to choose the topic and the panel members for this discussion. He did not interfere in any of these discussions in choosing whom to come and what topic to choose. So we have picked up a very interesting topic on this panel discussion, along with a very eminent panel speakers over here. So to classify the panel members in various buckets, we have representation from principals, both Vamshi Priya ma'am and Mamta ma'am from their schools, and Bangalore Sahodya side representation. And then we have industry representation through the way of Dr. Chiranjeev Roy, who is the Senior Vice President of Data Science and Analytics in SG Analytics. He is one of the top 10 data science specialists in India, one of Forbes Technology Council member, and then he consults and he has built data science and analytics team for corporates like Mercedes-Benz Research in Bangalore, Nissan, and various exposures that he has on industry. So he's also the India advisor for International Group of Artificial Intelligence. So I do not know him personally. We have connected in LinkedIn. I got in touch with him and asked him, can you come over to this event that we are organizing and give your inputs on data science, how it can help the educators over here. And then he has formally accepted our request. Thank you, Dr. Chiranjeev Roy, for. We have Dr. Ramesh representing the higher education, a former principal of JNV and deputy director of IGNOU. With why he has contributed a lot to the education system. So we will be covering over those topics when we discuss on those areas. And then my colleague, my friend, my co-founder Swaminathan Ganeshan, and one of the top 10 solution architects in the country. You throw the idea, throw the problem statement to him, he will give you a solution. He has been my go-to guy for last 10 years. And that's how we formed SmartTail. Thank you, Swami. So we are going to talk about 5 elements in this panel discussion. So we're going to talk about opportunities and initiatives that AI in education is going to bring. We're going to talk about awareness creation. We'll talk about adoption challenges. And we will go back to teacher and student orientation. And then what is happening with the ecosystem by large, the changing ecosystem. We're going to talk about that as well. So I'll begin my first question regarding the opportunities and initiative to Dr. Chiranjeev Roy. So Dr. Chiranjeev, on 23rd December, I know that IGOI did their first event, AI in higher education, that was done. Now, can you talk about the role of IGOI? Because people in India still are not aware of the role of IGOI, and then initiatives that the group is taking up globally towards AI in higher and school education, and what are the opportunities that you foresee when teacher and AI collaborate?
Thank you, Aslam. I think I get a lot of privilege when I'm sitting here, and thanks to SmartTail, thanks to CD. I've been listening for some time today. I got late since the morning. हमने संस्कृत में पढ़ा है, मतलब जब स्कूल में था तब तो बड़ा नॉलेज रहता था. बट वन ऑफ द थिंग्स इज राजित्य पूज्य राजा, विद्वान सर्वत्र पूज्य थे. आप विद्वान बनाते हैं. That is where we stand, right, from the perspective. Across my 18-20 years of journey, across working with NASA, then Google, then Microsoft, Mercedes-Benz, Nissan Motors, and now being part of the IGOAI. This group IGOAI represents a non-profit organization which tries to bring in the empowerness across different fields where the problems are. What are the kind of problems that we go solve? On 23rd, we hosted an international conference across Middle East, which tries to get into every domain. And one of the subjects was primarily education. Of course, we all very well know one of the most challenged or being disruptive areas is the education sector when the corona was hit. From IGOI, we try to empower independent countries. As you know, Africa, there are countries where inside Africa is a continent where education has till not been digitally adopted. As like India, as being said before, 50% of the students didn't had laptop. And if you consider, and this is an emerging country like India, think about Africa, think about the rural areas of Europe, even in a lot of parts of Germany, right? Even if we say America, digitalization could not be evolved from the perspective. So this group tries to empower that, and we focused on primarily three level challenges. One is enabling. How do you enable people to get into digitalization? Technology is the key, but it's not the soul. Technology enables you to do something. You have to adopt it. And that is how there will be enablers. Brilliant work by people from SmartTel. They're enablers. They can only enable you to do things, but they cannot do anything on their own. That is where learning comes into picture. Artificial intelligence helps you learn. But if you don't take the learning into perspective, none of the learning machines can work. Right? I come from a background of autonomous driving, connected mobility, and this is a very hot topic. Right? I did a PhD on that. I've been teaching in Max Planck Institute of Informatics, one of the most prestigious universities. It's called the Stanford of Germany, or Europe to be precise. We understood this in the very grassroots that when you start doing things, when you start enabling things, then only things can come into picture. So enablers are important. Give respect to the enablers. Work with them. It has to be respected. Yes, money, time, persistence, these are things which are required. Then comes your, once you enable and engage, that's the second form, which is you have to engage with it. You have to work with the system to give you something. Learning is a system, right? From the perspective, we went traditional to digital. We have learning into picture. We have to engage with people. The technology organizations can help you engage with people, but they cannot directly engage with the student. It cannot happen that way. You are the people who can engage. And then comes finally, once you engage, then you empower. Empowering is the most important thing. I think these are the three E3 principles. I think that will be driving artificial intelligence in education itself from the perspective. That's very, very important. If you have to do everything that the learning systems that we are displaying, and would be great work done by organizations like SmartTel, this will be an engaging journey. The more you engage, the more you get empowered, right? I've been very honored to see the videos coming from tier 3, tier 4 cities, right, from the perspective. And that's what is happening across the world. People are trying to engage with the learning system. Artificial intelligence is nothing but engaging. If you can engage well, it will empower you to do things, and then you would utilize your brain to do something which is much, much more bigger and better. That is changing lives. That's what is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chiranjeev. I think very precisely said. It stays in. It will stay with us. Enable, engage, and empower. And we build solutions to empower the teaching community. So, moving on further to Dr. Ramesh sir. Sir, you have been part of the Quest for Excellence project in 2004, if I recall, and wherein the purpose was to enhance the quality and improvements of students for CBSE class 10 and 12, and it got adopted in all JNVs. Now you would gone through a set of process and practice in this project, and one of them we believe would be the awareness creation for all the stakeholders involved. Now let's fast forward current scenario. The scenario has changed. The focus is more on quality and improvements even today, and not just for students but even for teachers. Now in this case, how do you see AI can help improve, enhance the quality, and share your best practice, what you followed some time back with respect to the awareness creation for all the stakeholders, teacher, parent, and the and the school management.
Thank you, respected panel speakers and beloved guests. A good question from Aslamji. I was a practicing principal of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya for 10 years and known to be innovator and experimentation. And Vidyalayas I headed considered to be Vidyalaya without walls. We have developed a vision. A vision is shared vision. It is a direct involvement of all the stakeholders. The issues were identified in groups by the stakeholders, and there was a discussion all through the day. And they have come on how our Vidyalaya would be next 5 years and what should be our vision. The vision mission meant by direct participation of all the stakeholders. It was a wonderful document, then later displayed on the Vidyalaya, speaking the whole Vidyalaya, speaking about the vision and mission, where every child used to feel my thought process is there. So that was the experiment. We did it in 2004. So now you see it is 2021. And now comes the AI. The principles. The UNESCO appointed the International Commission for Education, that is Deller's Commission, to suggest the type of education that is required for the world to face the 21st century. So they proposed 4 pillars: learn to know, learn to do, learn to be, learn to live together. These are the 4 pillars they suggested. And now standing here now with the pandemic situation and the national education policy, we see here, so far we were worried about the critical thing, creativity, collaboration, and what we call it as the communication skills. 4 critical C's. Now with A, we need to add the 5th. That is now we need to add the 5th C, computational skills, which has become a necessary skills that is required. I recall our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, launched his program Safal, wherein on 2021, on the eve of the first anniversary of National Education Policy, he determined to bring 1 million learners as AI learners and wanted to grab this opportunity. The world should be dominated by India. The AI intelligence should be the property of the Indians. So we need to move forward in this direction. So the thrust of the national education policy also, the similar way it is enshrined, and we need to move forward in this direction. And we are seeing the different platforms now. A single platform of a teacher classroom may not fulfill the required objectives. We are seeing virtual learning environments, interactive learning environments. All these things are there. And now we see the role of the teacher. Earlier in 80s and 90s, we used to think when we use the teaching aids, we call these aids and assistants. Later part, these were called as supplementing and complementing. So now I can say with this national education policy and with the AI, the role of the teacher is certainly in the center stage, as our Professor Acharya Garu, C.B. Sharma sir told, but the position of the AI, or what we call it as the technology, has changed its position from left to right side of the teacher. From left to right side of the teacher, where it is inalienable partner in teaching process. You cannot deny, you cannot minimize, and you cannot dereliction also. So that is how the technology role has taken a major role in this one. So in this regard, the AI, if you see the implementation part, it is more so the need of our in higher education. And since I am I am here an important key role as a deputy director in the world largest open university, Indira Gandhi National Open University, being given A++ NAC accreditation in its first cycle, and leading with all its national open learning ODL, open and distance learning programs, besides online programs also. We are offering 18 online programs, and we are seeing now the introduction of AI learning analytics. We have developed the Moodle programs also. And apart from this, we have started the personalized learning programs also. So we hope to move forward with, we have also developed a 10 years institutional development plan, wherein we used to further take up, develop 53 online learning programs also. So we are also pushing forward for the induction of artificial intelligence, and we have reached to a place where there is no point of return. So we look forward how best we can adapt, absorb, and move forward in providing the quality education to the unreached sectors of these sections. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So I think the important message is that computational skills are going to be one of the additional C's that is there, and then the IGNOU programs that are on AI. That's a good input for all the principals over here. You can probably look at those and probably motivate the teachers to go take an IGNOU program compared to the ones that are very expensive from all the MITs and Harvards and all other university one, which the enterprise people take it from various online learning platform. The one that IGNOU might be offering might be very related to the Indian scenario as well. So thank you for sharing the input, sir. Next, my question to Vamshi ma'am. Ma'am, they are talking about vision, mission, engage, enable, all of that. But reality is that when we spoke to a correspondent, he says we have the vision to do things. But how do I motivate my teachers to do? They are already burdened with so many tasks, and they feel that you are adding one more activity for us to engage with Swami and team to go figure out, do this all. It's more work we can't do, is what people say. Now the question is, we say it's a mindset change, but how do you handle and how do we bring this mindset change? Enable them. Again, it goes back to the same question again. So your experiences, ma'am.
Thank you, Aslam. I think we are all CBSE schools, and I'm sure all the people who have gathered here, because we are associated with CBSE and number of challenges, they will accept this is nothing. And teachers will certainly embrace any kind of changes that comes in their way. Coming back to your question, yes, it is very essential that we have a vision, mission, shared vision with our stakeholders, because first, we will take them into context. Also, we have their inputs. Before we start off with anything, inputs of our stakeholders is also important, and our APP program has drilled all the schools, that is annual pedagogical plan. When we say pedagogical plan itself, it means a lot of practices. And coming back to my panel members who have shared, they did mention empower, engage. Anything without R&D will not be a good beginning. And I'm sure you will all accept it is, I don't know if AI is a boon or an evil, right? It has its challenges. And yes, doctors are worried whether it will replace the doctors. Teachers are worried whether it will replace the teachers. And students can have jolly well good time. I do not know. I hope all my panelists will also accept this, one thing. And secondly, going by the CBSE initiatives and the circulars that we are mounted with, like AI awareness, AI appreciate, all of this are available to us on Diksha portal, not only for the teachers, but also for the students and the parents. And they're certified after they finish their courses as well. I think first, dirty your hands, as Swami had mentioned few minutes back. The more you dirty your hands, you can feel the ripple effect coming in positive. This is my take on that. And I will also add on to what Sir had mentioned, that is personalized learning. Just over the lunch table, myself and Swami were having a talk, and he did mention that principals were asking for a couple of assessment procedural packages that they could give it to them. I see it as DI, differentiated instruction, and as Sir also mentioned, different tier sectors. Even in classrooms, we come across with differently abled children. be it gifted children or be it slow learners. I shouldn't be using the term slow learners, but somewhere where they have their abilities into different capacities. So keeping all of this in mind, AI automatically come with 3 Ps. So my 3 Ps are completely different. I call it as space, place, and path. So technology can allow children to do their work at their own pace, at their own path. Maybe it is keeping hybrid learning in mind, as well as a place. Suppose this were to be a virtual program, I'm sure sitting in any nook and corner of the nation or the world, we would have all been benefited. Only one thing that we look forward is a strong internet connection. So necessity is a mother of inventions once again. I'm sure given a chance, all the challenges will be embraced and we can come back. This is my take as a school leader from the school's perspective. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Very, very insightful one. Ma'am, we'll go to Mamta, ma'am. Again, on the same lines, we will talk about the orientation part. So we discussed, ma'am, you said you normally do the Monday test and then you take the reports of the Monday test and then you review it with the faculty member. Now, the question is now AI will do the grade and then the report will come onto your table, right? And it's going to point out different insights that you have not seen before. Now, the question is how will you orient the teachers that this is the report that previously what you are looking at, that could be the discussion itself could be different. Now with AI insights, very deep level, at a question level, topic level, and you might find the gaps and upskill areas of teachers as well. How will you handle this? This is for our own knowledge. Me and Swami have been trying to find answers when we talk to a lot of academicians. Please share your views, ma'am.
Yeah. You know, like the measure of intelligence is adapting to any change. Yeah. So the change is inevitable now. See, we are invaded with artificial intelligence. And like Swami was just sharing about the book, you know, Industrial Revolution 4.0, which says AI is the Cinderella of Industrial Revolution 4.0. And right now, we have been invaded totally with artificial intelligence and even the 21st century skills, if you see. Being ICT is one of the skills for the 21st century. So, and all of us, you know, principals and faculty members, we know that children are born with, you know, their own inclination towards technology, and we also need to gear up to all that. And you were talking about how to assess, right? So, you know, like we were having a format after every assessment, whether it's a short Monday assessment, midterm assessment, whatever, we would give a format to the teacher, you know, with the name list. And against every question, the teacher had to analyze and write her own comments. And after that, analyze the results and see, like how Swami was telling, whether we need to revisit the concept, which are the concepts that needs to be re-looked into. So now the teachers have a lot of data. And as I understand, artificial intelligence is, again, you know, like how Dr. Roy was talking, it's engaging, enabling, and empowering. You know, the more you use the data, the more analysis could be done, right? So with the amount of data in terms of the grades, their test scores, and also their behavioral aspects. So if we use AI, a lot of nuances that could have otherwise escaped and the normal human intelligence could be picked up with AI. Yeah, I'm not saying human intelligence is something inferior. It's after all the human intelligence that has created the artificial intelligence. But when you get a subject-wise, topic-wise, and student-wise, question-wise analysis, so all that the teachers and the decision makers, the coordinators, you know, the subject heads, they need to sit and see, like topic-wise and concept-wise, where we need to go back and do again conceptualization. See whether we have realized our outcomes or not. And as Vamshi ma'am was rightly telling, you know, like learning based on the pace of each student. That's again a wonderful thing, right? So if a student, you know, it can also help you analyze which are the subjects that this child needs help, extra help. It also helps with remediation. See, it is not just the classroom teaching. See, like there are three aspects. One is the planning, one is the classroom execution, and after the planning and the execution is happened, what are you going to do? How are you going to help in remediation? So this data is really going to help us in remediation also. And again, the teachers also, like you can make use of them. Some of them could work out some programs, create some AI initiatives. And there could be teachers, like they just implement what ideas or whatever, programs are there. And the most important thing is the end users. End users are the students here, right? And taking the feedback from the students itself. So you could again complete that circle and this data and the time consumption of the teachers, like how some teachers shared on the videos that were shared by Swami, the amount of time that they can save. So this time could be used for one-on-one counseling with the children, going back, replanning, relooking, revisiting. Yeah. So this is what I would like to say. And another thing I was just also thinking, see, we are here, we are talking about the offline test, a pen paper test where all the papers are scanned and, the results are analyzed. If we could have an online test, like how Vamshi ma'am was talking about, based on the pace and based on their levels of learning, if you can have a progressive questionnaire that comes to the student, like how we have in all these competitive exams. The children attend one level, and if they, succeed in that level, you give them higher order questions, higher order thinking skills. Yeah. So this is what is my take, and like Ranbir sir's rightly he said that we should not become gulams of this. As long as like we are the masters of technology, things go right. The moment technology becomes our master, then it is devastation. Yeah. So it's our discretion. How much we need to use and where to use, what to use. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Happy to hear this. Ravi sir, myself and Swami, in a lot of brainstorming, we talk about these. But if me and Swami tell this, nobody will listen. But coming, coming from you, we did not give an answer script to ma'am to speak like this. So coming from you, we feel really happy to hear this, and that's what we are trying to empower and enable. And my request to Dr. Chiranjeev that when we plan for an IGOI event in Bangalore, we should consider school education as well and the inputs from the school education as well. So that's going to be very vital for the tech basically.
Can I just say one statement?
Please, ma'am.
Actually, when we had a presentation with SmartTail, Aslam and Swami, the first opening statement given by both of them is we care for the teachers and their time. So that one statement really struck me. Otherwise, I'm a tough nut. Things don't, I don't sort of get convinced very easily. I'm a real tough nut. But that one statement that we care for teachers and their time, that's something that really caught my attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the changing ecosystem, right? None other than Swami can answer this. Swami, not just Smartail, right? All the tech startups, let's take, right? We are all there in the business, and we want to build innovative new solutions for the industry that will change the way we teach, learn, interact with the student and teaching community. Now, we have gone through a lot of challenges from deep grade trials that we have been doing in last 2 years, right? Adoption. Can you share the experiences at very high level, right? That you have from wider audience.
I can go a day on this.
Yeah.
So thank you again. Very quickly. So let us. Maybe we will talk about the journey that we had. 2019. First thing is this was in a PowerPoint slide. So where we had to go and tell. Probably Ravi sir was the first person. One of the first persons. We went to his office and we took his time and then we had to explain. This is what we're going to do. We're going to grade the handwritten descriptive answers of students. So the first 1 year went in mostly the concept selling because none of the people were really aware of what was actually happening, what was actually coming through, and how was it different, all these things. Couple of experience. We went to a school, we did this wonderful presentation, we had a whole listen from the principal, and then at the end he said, we are a very traditional school, we are a pen and paper school, we use all registers, sorry, yours sounds very promising, but thank you so much, we will not be able to use because we are a very traditional school. This is one of the top schools in that particular area, not an average school or anything like that. They had about 5,000 students or something like that, top schools in the area. Now, the same principal called me after 6 months into pandemic and he said, hey, you talked about something on grading. Is it ready or not? So, the first thing that actually happened is due to the pandemic, we are now able to differentiate between digital transformation and artificial intelligence. Many of them were calling Zoom as artificial intelligence. Many of them started calling Google Meet as artificial intelligence or Microsoft Teams as artificial intelligence. My request again to Dr. Chiranjeev is that first is there needs to be a lot of awareness sessions on differentiating what role AI is going to play and then what role the digital transformation tools are going to play. So that's the first learning that we had when we started engaging with a lot of principals and the school correspondents as such. The next biggest challenge was now sitting and pulling their time in, saying, okay, please sit with us for 1 hour and then tell us whether we have done this correctly or not. So literally I had to buy Cadbury's chocolates and ice creams and pizzas and all those things to make teachers bribe them and then make them sit with us and review some of the results that actually came through in the initial beginning. The reason was not that they are reluctant or they were not interested or anything like that. 95% of our teaching community are women, and we know that the amount of work that women have, not only in the day job, but once they go back home, the teachers especially, they have to run the home as well. So literally they were really having less time to spend on anything else but than their routine activities. So that was another challenge that we solved by making our application better, by making our understanding of what we were doing a little bit more and more better. Now the stage at which we are is that we have more examples, we have more videos, we can show testimonials, we can make you write an answer paper and grade it to you right now and give you the result. So this is more of a proof in the pudding. When the proof in the pudding starts coming, now teachers they start telling us on how we should build the product and how is we are going to use this product, right? We might have one perception of this is how we're going to use our product, but when we get into the teachers, when we get into talk to principals, Mamta ma'am had a very good suggestion to us. I was speaking with one gentlewoman here, and then she had some brilliant inputs on how we should actually connect the dots in terms of the questions and then to the learning outcomes. So these are what is happening today is that now they are able to differentiate, okay, this is digital transformation is done, this is artificial intelligence, and this is what I am looking at. Can it give me this? Can it give me that? Can it give me this? What will happen if I give you this scenario? How are you going to handle this? What are the changes that I need to make? And we are now so positive and then so overwhelmed with these kind of requests and these kind of feature enhancements, because at the end of the day, we are building this product for the teachers. We are building the product for you. And if the requirements come from us, from the teachers, then it's a lot easier so that the acceptability rate, and then we can find the product market fit. In business terms, the most important word is product market fit. If your product doesn't fit the market, you won't survive for long. And we are seeing very positive trend with respect to Degrade itself, as we are kind of almost found the product market fit is what I would say. And I would conclude by saying this, right? There is going to be inertia in the beginning for the school leaders. When you take it to your teachers, when you take it to your, there is going to be inertia. And inertia is not only for us, it's not just deep grade or anything that you want to change, there is going to be inertia. As school leaders, I've seen a lot of school leaders put down their shoes and say, no, come what may, we are doing this. We will adjust the time, we will reduce this work so that this is enabled. And those are visionary leaders as such as we see. And then every day we speak to more and more principals, we are seeing more and more visionary leaders. And that is something which makes us really happy. I hope I covered all your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swami. I think those are the real learning experiences of last 2 years of the journey together, where on the field that we have learned. Now let me quickly 30 seconds for you all to quickly go through. I'll start with Dr. Chiranjeev. Chiranjeev, one visionary statement which normally when you build something new, you tell to your teams, right? You would have done it in Mercedes, Nissan. That one visionary statement or the message, motivational message that you will give. What do you want to give to the educators on AI?
I would take the liberty to take two actually. Number one, AI cannot replace us. Let's keep it aside, right? Otherwise, these edutech firms would have not jumped up to the guns. There is an enormous opportunity, of course, for the business, but transformation that is written on at the back only comes from all of us, the people who are going to use it. That's very important. Business cannot transform, not even technology. It's the people. So it's about people, process, and technology. What you both said is all about the process. The process needs to be transformed, and the machine only learns the process. The people, us, need to use it, right? From the perspective. In 2010, we were creating the Mercedes-Benz labs. Today, we are talking about, we have seen cars running on the road. Tesla has done it. Mercedes is following it. When there were 1,000 people in the Cupertino office, 700 people walked out and they were looking at the Menlo Park. It's a beautiful apple of us, right? From the perspective. We started the lab from there. Those 700 people actually started developing the algorithms. Please try to understand when the kids start working, there is error. The error needs to be changed. And process is something that the AI need to learn, and people have to tell where the error is making. The more you engage, the more it is better. So engage with it. That's what is more important. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chiranjeev. Vamshi ma'am, a quick question. This is the first step towards partnering with Bangalore Sahodaya as well. Can you tell about any initiatives that Bangalore Sahodaya, because we are in a startup hub, and how are you visualizing the Sahodaya's interaction with the startup hubs over here, collaboration?
You're putting me in trouble. Okay. What I would like to say is basically every one of us need to think about the competencies. Whatever Mr. Roy just mentioned is all about the competency, the managerial skills. And what we are trying to see through AI is also the managerial skills, right? Ultimately, it's a backward designing which is happening. We are trying to work on something, ask the teachers, ask the stakeholders, be it students, parents, and teachers, to see how well it worked or where is it that we need to fill in the gap. So I need not have to take a decision for Bangalore Sahodaya. I'm sure schools who've heard now, or probably by word of mouth, when it passes on, and once it is known it's a national portal that is being developed by SmartTail, I think they will automatically look forward to what Bangalore Sahodaya has to offer.
Sure.
But surely it's a competency building. And as Swaminathan mentioned, see, irrespectively, even if I change, because your question revolved around ecosystem, I'm just coming back to that. So demographic way, I might change from one school to another school or from one place to another place, and getting used to the switchboards is also a big concern. It's a challenge, right? So is the case with anything new which evolves. And we need to empower ourselves, and research and development is our main mantra. We have to follow that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ramesh sir, quick question. You mentioned learnings from IGNOU on the higher education side. So is there any plans to focus on the school education? Because we released a book today from Sharat ji, right? But anything from on the virtual side to keep them connected?
So our IGNOU Acharya, Professor C.B. Sharma sir is heading the education. And very recently there is an MOU with Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti teachers to empower, train all the teachers. So naturally, we are very much working into it. It is the age, friends, as I say, you cannot deny the presence of Siri, Alexa, and Tesla. Am I right? So we need to work, we need to move forward. So very positive, IGNOU is very positive in this regard because it is a world leader in the distance and open education. And moreover, our schools are so empowered and equipped with the past history of training to lakhs of the people in the education field, and we are going to evolve and develop many such programs with the help of AI, please.
Thank you, sir. So let me summarize this and then wrap this session, right? AI has been there 20 years before as an elective in the when we did college. It was there. It is still there, and it was there 20 years before also. Back then, the lecturer who was there, who gave an example of AI to us, said, "Okay, you are as a human, you are climbing up or climbing down the stairs. Now assume that machine has to do that. That's AI," is what he said. Now we were all this is what we have reproduced in our answer papers as well. But however, the question was like, why and how? Why should AI do that? And then how will AI do that? We didn't have an answer back then. Over 20 years, the answer that we have found is that why is where today we see agri-tech, fintech, healthcare, edutech, everywhere AI use cases have been developing. That's why, because the domains have diversified. How? When it comes to how, there are two parts in the how. One part, I will relate it to the session, morning session Professor C.B. Sharma was relating to, right? The how has two parts. That how is one part that will be solved by the technology that is available today. The advances that are available today can make things happen. Like how we are talking about natural language processing, machine learning, deep learning. All of these will make it happen. The second how is basically the master who will train the machine. The master who will train the machine in education is none other than the teachers by themselves. And the teachers will have to do the job of teach, train, measure, and revisit, again reteach, retrain, and remeasure. This has to be done. What is the outcome of doing this, right? You might free up some time and sip a coffee sitting. Now, is this what we are going to do? Now, to get that coffee in the perfect blend that you want from a machine, you still need to teach the machine, you need to train the machine, you need to measure it, you need to revisit. That is where you're going to get the blend of perfect blend Arabic, whatever blend that you like. That to get it, you need to spend this time. So, having said that, we as a company, we understand that this is the drill that we have to go through in achieving what we want to achieve, closer to not pushing technology to you, but understanding what you do on a day to day, bringing it as a use case and giving it back to you. That's the ethos that we have. Thank you very much for all the eminent panelists over here and listening to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.